Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shay Ryan Douglas, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dr E TV. This week is very exciting. I have Dr E in the broadcast with me alongside John Harvey Grant, who is a ultimate master speaker. He's a man who's done some incredible levels of coaching, certified 3. He's a mentor to up-and-coming inspirational entrepreneurs, and he really helps people to design their lives in the most effective way. But today we're actually going to dive into a few really interesting topics in this conversation in a moment. And we're going to really unpack what it looks like to really understand on a deeper level what the matrix is, this world that we find ourselves in, how to potentially break free of that once we understand it, and diving deeper into the understanding what energy is and how it works, so that we can really tap into that deeper understanding of our potential as human beings here on this planet. So thank you, Dr. E and John Harvey Grant, for joining us today. Dr. E, would you like to introduce John as well?
Absolutely, be my privilege and pleasure. Not only do I have the pleasure of interviewing someone that I look up to as a mentor, that has been my personal coach for quite some time in the context of learning how to speak professionally from stage, how to present, how to sell with soul, or do conscious office instead of these, sleazy pitches, and how to bring more authenticity to the work that we do, more sacredness. But also a man that I truly feel has been had one of the greatest impacts of my life when it comes to my spiritual development. In regards to conversations that we've had, that after that conversation, I've gone, oh, snap. I get it. And energy has started to change. So it's a privilege and a pleasure. I think for some of you, if you've heard of John Grant Harvey before, he's the founder of the Mindset Institute in Australia. He's a top trained world-class speaker, trainer, and coach. He's also been working with some incredible athletes in the US Open, Australia Open, and he's done some incredible things. More than that, when you observe something from a higher level of frequency, or at least deeper levels of awareness, you see beyond just certain human achievements, but you can see a bit of energy. And after a while, you can, when you begin to see things the way they really are, you can, as we're going to learn today from John, understand what the matrix is, what your energy is, and how to potentially scan it. And without saying scanning, John, when I look into your energy, it always is very powerful and carries with it tremendous amounts of light. So thank you for being here with us today, man.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Cool. So I have a question for you, if I can jump straight in there. Since the topic of today is unmasking the matrix, maybe we talk a little bit about what is the matrix in your eyes.
Sure. So keeping it simple, it's basically an environment in which a society grows within. So that's made up of a lot of different things. It's made up of the beliefs of that society, the values, the level of conscious development, the influences such as government, media, and so forth. So for example, the belief of a society, I think a lot of people may be familiar with Roger Bannister when he broke that 4-minute mile or the 1-minute mile. He at that time, the collective, the doctors, the medical world didn't believe that was possible. And when Roger actually crossed that line, he thought he was dying. And so when he broke that limiting belief in the collective, a lot of runners were able to achieve it. So these are these unconscious beliefs that society has in many different areas of life, similar to values. Values, by one definition, are emotional states that people want to experience on a regular basis. So different cultures, they have different values. And so why we want to know this is because we are enmeshed within the matrices that we live within. And we want to know what are these collective limitations so that we can essentially unshackle ourselves and really live a life on our terms, so that our spirit, our soul, our mission, our vision can penetrate and permeate through the matrices that we live within, as opposed to having those matrices define us and suppress us and keep us, in many cases, acquiescing to their own agendas or their own kind of limitations, if you will. So that's a kind of short version of what a matrix is. It's a lot more than that. There's many streams that make up a matrix, but it's definitely important to be aware of what it is, so that we can reclaim a lot of our power back from the matrices that we live within.
Beautiful. And I love how you took that from something that could have been esoteric down to something that's so fundamentally important to every single person, because we all live these human lives and these experiences. Because we talk about everything being energy. And so we live within the matrix and everything is energy. Can you talk a little bit about, for people that might ask, okay, yeah, I've heard a bit about this consciousness, this awareness, or whatever energy might be. What would you say, what does energy mean to you?
Well, it's kind of like a question like, what is the universe? You know, it's like, to me, energy is everything. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So for me, energy is everything. It's like the apple that I eat. It's the flow and the vibe that's happening in this conversation. It's our emotions. It's a whole gamut of things. And so, like when tuning into a radio station, perhaps, there's different frequencies, there's different bandwidths that we can discern. And some people are more empathetic and more sensitive than others. And so energy really is the fabric, as Nikola Tesla mentioned, of the universe. And it's everywhere. It's an incredible thing.
And so then the awareness of this energy, and as I know you've done a lot of work in understanding energy, then gives us the opportunity to really live empowered lives, it seems. What does human empowerment really mean to you in that context?
I mean, this human empowerment, or unleashing our potential as human beings, is a ridiculously exciting question.
Yeah.
And it means freeing up stuck energy. If we want to reference back into the matrix, well, a lot of times we give our energy over to the matrix because we have to. Not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's important to be conscious of where we're giving our energy to. What are we submitting to? Do we truly feel aligned with that in our heart of hearts, in our innermost being? Or are we doing it to maintain our stake within the matrix itself? And so as we become more discerning, as we become more astute, more empathic, we can feel the quality and the intentions behind something. And that gives us more power within the matrix as well. So I think there's many benefits to understanding our own energy and having conversations like this about understanding the matrix and understanding our relationship to it.
Love that. And before we jump into the uncensored version, guys, this is where we're going to let loose. This is where we're going to be able to say the things that we can't or necessarily can't share on this platform, etc. The purpose of this is not to say something that's too crazy or out there, but rather so fundamentally true that it's almost been kept quiet, is my personal opinion. I know, John, before we jump into that conversation, I know the mastery of energy, or the practice of awareness of energy and moving of energy, has been a big thing in your life. If you look at that, what would you say to those people out there now listening, watching, thinking, okay, so I get it, and what do I do now? when
in relation to developing your own personal energy and life.
Yeah, if someone's out there thinking, okay, I get it. The world is changing. I need to, and I want to do something with my energy. I want to use awareness or consciousness to grow my energy, or to heal my life, or to improve my relationships, or to fix my finances, or heal my. What would you say to those people sitting there thinking, I don't know what to do. What do I do now?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I think who's in front of you and the people you surround yourself with have a huge impact, because it's almost like if you're wanting to express aspects of yourself, whether it's vulnerability, and we're definitely going to talk about that in the next section, because it's key to unlocking life force is the willingness to experience vulnerability. And so we'll unpack that coming up. But it's important who you're around and the people you surround yourself, and that they value energy. They value these types of conversations so that you can be mirrored accurately. So if you're opening up an aspect of yourself to someone that is perhaps not ready to receive it, they're too shut down, suppressed, oppressed, or not even open in their stage of development to having that conversation, you're not going to be experienced in a way that naturally supports or nourishes that what you've just shared with them. So I think the first tip would be surrounding yourself with people, being on conversations like this, where the energy is flowing and these types of conversations are welcome and appreciated, makes a huge difference in your own actualization and your own reflection of how your own journey is progressing in these types of things would be my probably single most tip.
Beautiful. You become like the people you spend time with. You know,
Definitely.
in science, we call that quantum entanglement, and that's really beautiful. And you are a speaker of speakers. You know, you are one of my greatest teachers and mentors in how to share your truth, and through the Ultimate Speakers Masterclass program, etc. It's made such a huge difference in my life. So I'm really honored and excited. And now really pumped to hop into this conversation to talk about vulnerability, the power of vulnerability.
Huge.
Huge, right?
Huge.
Massive. And therefore, once you get it, there's so much healing that takes place, I feel, because those things that you've been running away from, they're the fear-based frequencies. They just want some love, and as soon as you see them for what they are and you heal them, they're gone, and now you turn that fear to fuel. So we'll talk about vulnerability and how we can use it in our lives. Now, we're going to unmask the matrix. John, I understand from learning about what you've been doing for so long, you've got a pretty good understanding of how to unmask this matrix and truly live a life in spirit. So we'll unmask the matrix, and then we'll also get some our key activity for the week, which is every week we give viewers and listeners in Dr. E TV an activity to do. So you hop on, you learn about, you know, the science and the art and the philosophy, the wisdom of our guest speakers, etc. And then you have 7 days or however long it takes you to get to the next one to implement this activity. So we'll share that activity with you as well in the area of life of spiritual fulfillment and purpose. So John, is there anything else you want to say before we hop into the uncensored version?
Just thank you to everyone watching this. You make these types of conversations possible. Your willingness to have these conversations with us or to tune in. So I just want to thank you for that. And I'm really excited to even share some vulnerable things I've never shared before in relation to connection and some, we'll see how the conversation unfolds, but some mystical experiences I've had in this, which really feel incredibly pure and true when we can connect through this doorway of connection and vulnerability, when we strip back a lot of the masks and a lot of the things that we hide behind at times to survive in the matrix, which is very normal, very natural, very understandable. But when we can go beyond that into a deeper conversation, there is so much life and beauty to experience. So I'm really looking forward to having that part of the conversation as well.
Amazing. To everyone watching and commenting, I see people, Daryl's here, Luke is here from WA, we'll be over in WA soon. All the people commenting, watching, thank you, love you guys. And the link is in the chat section. If you have any questions, click the link, hop in there, and let's unmask the matrix.
Let's do this. Cool.
Thank you so much, John and Dr. E. I'm really excited for this conversation, and thank you guys again for watching. Please, again, if you did like this video, leave us a like, drop a comment, and be part of the conversation. If you have any questions for John or Dr. E, just drop them in the comment section or in the live chat. I will filter through them, and I will also ask them those questions so that you can also be a part of this conversation. It's really valuable conversation. So thank you guys so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you in the uncensored version of this conversation. Jump over to the link and we'll chat to you soon. Bye for now.